Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the masculine and feminine dynamic. And I'm going to get in detail about why it's so necessary to have in relationships and why it works. I feel like everything right now, as I talked about the last episode, I feel like everything is just so backwards. You know, the roles are reversed and men are being feminine, women are being masculine. So a lot of the issues that we have right now is due to this situation right here. It's why it is so important to understand who you get yourself involved with and truly pay attention to these dynamics or these traits that people have, because it's truly what's going to separate the relationship or what's going to bring it together. You know, back in the days where kings and queens existed, and a lot of the relationships back then, they worked because the man respected the woman and the woman respected the man. And everybody had traditional gender roles, you know, because a man has his duties, the woman has her duties. But whenever the duties are reversed, it creates a lot of conflict. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So a lot of these dynamics that I'm going to be talking about is stuff that I've done, you know, extensive research and put it all together for you guys. And the reason why a lot of society right now is so backwards is because there's no respect in between the two genders. Men hate a specific type of woman. It feels like most women hate most type of guys, you know, just for the fact of them having, you know, personal experiences, and they tend to put all men in the same category. And that's why I want to talk a lot about things in detail, so that way you guys understand that not everybody is the same, men or women. We all come with different traits. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. But as long as we could acknowledge what we have to be focused on to become better partners, become better people in general, it's going to be beneficial for everybody. Your spouse, your friends, co-workers. It helps you in life in general, you know, understanding your role as a person, whether it be a woman or a man. You know, it could just help in any way possible. So a sign that a man is in his healthy masculine, it all starts with confidence. It all starts with him being a strong individual mentally, understanding who he has to protect, who he has to provide for, and truly care for everybody around him. You know, that's his main duty as a man in general. Clearly, there's a lot that goes into just being protective and providing for and treating your woman with respect. It goes beyond that. And I did make a little bit of a list to go over them, and hopefully you guys understand. You know, these are things that are very important that a lot of men are lacking today. The reason why society is the way it is because of weak men. It's truly made society a lot more difficult because men are not being men anymore. You know, a lot of women are stepping into that role of being masculine because whoever their partner is, whoever, you know, the guy that they're with is a pussy. You know, to better put that into a perspective, you know, that's just the way it is right now. And it's sad to see that because women shouldn't be in that role. The man should be the one that's going to be there, make that woman feel safe, and him being in his healthy masculine to better the situation, to better the relationship. And a lot of men are lacking that right now. So one of the first ones I did want to talk about was he stands on his principle. What he believes in, you know, he's going to stand on. If it's going to be a healthy principle, he has to put all his focus on that and keep his word, because usually a guy that has principles and he stands on something, he's going to be able to to show you with action. He's not just going to say it, because a masculine man is a man of his word. He never goes back on it. He's always precise in the way he does things. And he truly respects the people that he tells them that he's going to do something, and he actually commits and he actually does it. Because one of the biggest things that I've been seeing is that women complain a lot about their men not keeping their word. It could just be a simple thing of him telling his wife, being like, hey, when I get home, I'm going to cut the grass. I'm going to take the trash out. But whenever he comes home and he doesn't do it, it aggravates the woman, So in that situation, a masculine man will get home, do what he was going to do. He's going to cut the grass, take the trash out. And then the woman's going to feel safe. She's going to feel rewarded because he said something and he actually kept his word. He just didn't say it just to shut her up. He led with action, and he rewarded his wife by telling her something that he was going to do. A lot of guys right now, they don't step up and keep their word, and it causes chaos in the household. It really does. So if you're a guy, if you're going to tell your woman that you're going to do something, you better do it, because a lot of women are tired of hearing guys just saying that they're going to do something and they don't. Women love that whenever they feel like they could rely on you. That's a lot of things that men can't do right now for women. A man that is in his true masculine is a guy that's very selfless. He's going to put others before himself, and that means that he takes care of everything before he has to take care of himself. That's a man that has duty in front of him. If his family needs something, he's always going to be there. He's not going to prolong it. He's just going to react and take care of it. So these are, good examples as to how this helps the dynamic with the relationship. That's why I want to list all of these, and hopefully you guys understand, because these are so necessary. And it's truly why dating right now is very difficult. That's why relationships themselves are very difficult. I think this is more whenever you are in the relationship, and these are little traits that you could look for when you are dating somebody new and you start talking to them about their values, the way that they handle themselves. That's very important things to look for. And a lot of people miss paying attention to these things. And then later on, they find out that they're with somebody that they don't want to be with anymore, because these are traits that are missing in relationships right now. So if you pay attention to these traits early on, or if you're in a relationship right now and you guys have these traits, you guys are in a good position. Everybody has their gender role, which is beneficial for the relationship. A man could do what a man does, a woman could do what a woman does, and it makes everything just so easy. If you pay attention to everything that's going on around you, and you see couples that of, they're struggling in their relationship, most of the time it's because the roles are reversed. It's almost easy to point out if you think about it. And when you truly are able to understand why people struggle, is because the man is not a leader. That's part of the list I have right here. It takes discipline. It takes a lot of courage. There's a lot that goes into it, being a leader. But the main thing about it is keeping your word and leading with action and not your words, because a lot of guys are just going to spit game. They're going to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And they don't do anything about it. While in the relationship, or before a relationship is even formed, you could just be planning a day with a guy. And if he's late, that's not masculine. That's already a sign of him not being masculine. A guy that doesn't hold your door open, from the car, from the restaurant, from the store, making sure he protects you. He's aware of his surroundings. There's a lot that goes into it that a lot of guys do not do. And a man should always be a man to his lady and give her that safety, that feeling of safety, because a lot of men, they don't do that right now for their women. And I've seen this dynamic be so messed up. And I notice it at stores. I notice it could be at a bar. I mean, it could be anywhere, you know. And if you truly pay attention to couples, how they behave with each other in public, you could almost pick up their dynamic. If the guy is in the lead, if the woman is in the lead, it's very easy to dictate whenever you observe, you know, from the outside. And you see a lot of these guys, you know, they come out of, like, instance, like a bar, you know, people have been drinking. There's a lot of people that could become a danger to your significant other. And I always see they're not holding hands. He's not keeping her close. The guy is just so separated and he's not keeping her safe. And I'm like, bro, like, what if somebody just came up and like try to grab her or something, and you're over here not staying in your frame, not being in your masculine, and then something bad happens. You know, it's crazy because a lot of people, they rely a lot on their partner in many situations. I get at a bar, you could be drinking, they could be tipsy or whatever. But even then, I've seen it where a guy could keep his frame and still protect his woman. A lot of guys, they're not leading the right way. And a lot of women are feeling unsafe. And that's why it's creating a lot of masculine women. So if a guy can't make his woman feel safe, how will that ever work? Truly. Women are tired of being with a man that is a pussy. I've seen it everywhere. You could see it in the energy that they have between each other in public. And it's crazy because that's how you know people are just so fed up with each other. And no wonder a lot of divorce rates are going up. And I don't blame women. You know, there's many reasons for divorce. And this is not one of the main ones, you know, the dynamic being so fucked up. But I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with what leads to the divorce eventually. And I just wish a lot of guys, they understood how to be a man. I hate saying it. I truly fucking hate saying that, because as a man, you have to have a frame. As a man, you have to have a frame always. And once that is gone, like, what's the purpose of you being around and being a partner for somebody that you know you're not going to be able to protect? Because a lot of guys, I mean, I've seen, they're rich, they got money, they got the cars, they got everything, but they're beta male bitches. Like, they have no frame. They are not masculine. They go home and get beat up by their woman at home. I've seen that. And it's crazy because a lot of people, they think that money is what makes you high value and money is what makes you masculine. Not necessarily. You know, I've met people that are millionaires, people that have true money, and they don't have a frame. They're the complete opposite of a masculine man. They could be really good at business, but in a dynamic or in a relationship, and they don't know shit about how to lead a relationship. I've seen that happen a lot. And that's why I'm putting these things out there, so that way you guys truly understand the dynamic and as to why something could work and why the other thing doesn't work. You know, and that's why I'm putting this out there, so that way you guys are better aware. It's always better to go into a situation being better knowledgeable about it than going into it and you fail. I talked about that in the last episode, and it's better to be aware and know what you're getting yourself into before you go into it and you're in a situation where it becomes extremely difficult to walk away. You know, once emotions are happening, bond is created, it's a lot more difficult for you to go through that. So just understand what you're getting yourself into, especially when you're looking for a man, when you're looking for a woman. Just understand these traits, and it makes all the difference. Another thing that you could see in a man to know if he's in his true masculine is that he's not a coward. A guy that doesn't run away from his issues and attacks them head on. A guy like that is going to be somebody that is disciplined and has a frame, and no matter what happens, good or bad, he's going to go through the punches and handle a situation. He's not one to run away. He's not one to blame somebody else. He just mans up and takes it like a man, not like a little bitch. A man that's truly committed to be masculine. He's also going to be hitting the gym, having his physique in order. That just shows you right there that he has discipline. So a lot of guys that have masculine traits, this is one of them. This is a very important one because he's showing you that he will show up at the gym every day. And that creates a lot of discipline. Going to the gym helps you mentally. So most of the time, a lot of these guys that are going through something, this could be a good indicator that he lets the gym help him ease off anything that he's going through. I'm not saying that all guys that go to the gym are in their healthy masculine, but it's a good trait to have. A lot of guys, they don't have this whole list under their belt, and they're usually missing a few, if not all. A lot of guys, they don't have a lot of these traits, and they could go to the gym, but they're missing all these things that I just talked about. That doesn't make a masculine man at all because he's missing so many traits. Like I gave you the example about a successful man, a millionaire, somebody that's so successful, has money, has everything in life. But can he lead a relationship? Most of them can't, because a lot of their attention went to business. They went to study how to become rich and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys, they had a lot of alone time. They didn't have much time to be out there and truly date and understand a woman. And that goes into a man that's assertive. That's a man that knows what he wants to lead with. He's a man that has boundaries and standards. And if you don't like it, there's the door. A masculine man is not afraid to walk away. He's assertive. He's not going to put up with any bullshit. He's already gone through bullshit, I'm pretty sure. And he's not going to put up with any negativity, any toxicity. He's just very assertive of what he wants. That's a healthy masculine man. He's not going to put himself in that situation and let his emotions run him. A lot of guys that are masculine, they're assertive and they stand on their principle. That's something I just talked about right now. And he's not going to put up with any bullshit. So that's what creates a frame. That's what truly creates a man that knows what he wants and create an environment that's healthy for the man and the woman. On my last episode, I did talk about how men are just being weak. But the reason why they're weak is because they don't know how to control their emotions. A lot of these men, they have a lot of emotional outbursts. And that just creates a lot of conflict between the relationship, obviously. If the woman has lost her state of mind and the man is not there to control it and ease her off and just be like, you know what? I'm going to talk to you respectfully. I'm going to be assertive and I'm going to make you feel safe. No matter what you're going through mentally, I'm going to be there to help you out, get through this situation. That's what a real man does. That's what a masculine man does. And a guy that's in his feminine, that's more beta male, what does he do? Emotional outburst. He loses his frame. He'll start yelling back at the woman. He'll start throwing shit around. A lot of guys that are beta male bitches, are the guys that hit women. You should never fucking lay a hand on a woman. And those are the guys that are very feminine and very beta. They let their emotions lead them. A masculine man knows how to control his emotions. He knows how to control the situation no matter what's happening. And he leads with action. And he leads with being in that leadership role to control the situation. He doesn't have an outburst and blames everybody and starts pointing fingers at everybody but himself. That's a man that is going to be a big obstacle for the relationship in the future. Because imagine he has these outbursts whenever it's little situations, like it could just be a simple thing. Like I gave you the example earlier. If his wife asked him to go throw out the trash and he doesn't do it, and then the wife is the one taking it out now, what did that just create? It created a lot of conflict for something that he was supposed to do. Because he didn't do it, his partner had to do it. And that just created a lot of conflict. And that's just an example of something that a lot of men are failing at. They're truly not being able to be men and keeping their word. That's why a lot of women are becoming masculine. I don't blame them. So how does a woman ever feel safe when the man can't keep his word? And the woman has to always be there to remind him, being a mother to him. It's going to make the woman feel like she's not safe. She's going to feel like she can't rely on you. And it's going to create a lot of conflict and her becoming more masculine. And the man is just pretty much useless whenever he can't keep his word. It's one of the difficult things right now in relationships is women trying to rely on men, but they can't. They truly can't. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women out there that are experiencing this right now in a relationship, in a marriage, and they wish that they could do something to change the behaviors of their partner. Because the man should be the leader. He's the one that should be leading the relationship to success, not leading the relationship to eventually crash. The man should be the leader because the dynamic is so backwards, it's just not going to work. And I'm a firm believer that a woman should not be a leader in a relationship. When that happens, bad things tend to happen. No offense to women, no disrespect to women. Women could do amazing things and in their specific gender role, but women do lead a lot with emotion. And usually emotions are not healthy in certain situations. Whenever a woman leads with emotion, it creates a lot of toxicity, a lot of conflict. The couples are just fighting and stuff. So that's why the man has to be there, because the man is the one that should be stoic and controlling his emotions. That's the thing about being stoic, is learning how to be calm, but controlling your emotions. That's a stoic man. That's a man that is masculine. He's going to know how to control his emotions. Being stoic is so important in a relationship, is learning how to be calm during the storm and being able to march forward and controlling the situation without having that emotional outburst. So these are the things that a lot of women do fail with dealing with their partner. And I wish it was different for you guys. I hear stories all the damn time. For people that don't know who I am a tattoo artist, and I do tattoo a lot of people. I probably tattooed 1,000 people already in my career. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've always heard stories. I've talked to a lot of clients. I've helped a lot of clients out as well through the knowledge that I've picked up through time. I was actually just talking to a client about it too, that I've actually done research for clients just to help them out, knowing that they're going to come back the next session. And I have helpful information that's going to get them through that situation. And I've always been a person who, want to help out. And I don't know, it's always been in my nature. So if I could always help somebody out, I feel like I've done something right, because there's a lot of people out there that are truly suffering. They're truly suffering and they're in depression. There's a lot of people that need love. There's a lot of people that just need a hug. And it is a lonely world out there. And it's unfortunate, you know, it's just becoming hard to genuinely connect with somebody that's going to have their best interest in you. And it's one of the difficult things of life. You know, sometimes we have to go through those emotions by ourselves. And going back to the masculine part of it is a guy needs to learn how to control what he's going through and not letting everybody feel what he's going through. And, you know, that goes back to the emotional outburst. You know, all this goes hand in hand. If a guy does not know how to control his emotions, man, it's truly just a shit show at that point, because a woman could easily get emotional and just overreact. So imagine if both people are doing that. It's just not going to get anywhere. That's why a lot of men are not being men. They're not being leaders. They're not being stoic when they're supposed to. And it's causing all this conflict in a lot of households right now. And women are tired of it. And that's why you hear a lot of women becoming masculine. And that's why it's creating a lot of the movement with the feminists. Something has to happen because women are tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it on guys, you know. I see it everywhere in public. The way a guy treats a woman, and I'm like, fuck, man, that dynamic is just so fucked up right now. And a lot of men do not know how to be a man. They do not. As hard as that is to say. So to all the men listening, please do your best to become a healthy masculine man. You know, women truly need that right now. And it truly could be the biggest difference in the world right now, because that's what's really needed to have everything in balance. Because a lot of men right now are being weak, and they're letting their emotions lead them. Everything is so backwards right now. There's no respect towards men anymore. And it's just truly causing a lot of conflict everywhere. And I'm sure for the women that are listening, I know you guys want to have a masculine man. I know you guys do. And you guys have to understand what it is to be feminine, to be able to attract a guy like this as well. Not to take any shots at you guys, but there is a lot of women that do not know how to be in their true feminine energy. You guys are just going to be attracting a lot of bad apples because you guys are not in your feminine. And the way that the dynamic works in a relationship, that whenever the roles are so traditional and the man is masculine and the woman is feminine, the chances of that relationship working increase so drastically. It just skyrockets. Like it's whenever a woman truly respects the man and the man is actually protective and provides for the woman. So for all you women listening right now, I know you guys want a guy that is masculine, a guy that truly knows how to lead, a guy that truly knows what it takes to be a man and protect you guys and provide. And it makes life easy for you guys. But one thing that I will say is that guys like this that are in their true masculine, they want a woman that's in her true feminine. You know, a masculine woman is not going to attract a guy that's masculine. The two cannot coexist. Whenever you have two masculines in a household, they're going to clash because they both want to be leaders. They both want to plan stuff out. They both just want to have control. And when that happens, that's just going to create a lot of fights, arguments, and it's just not good. That's the reason why this dynamic works. You know, it's the opposite attract. The male has to be masculine, the female has to be in her feminine. You know, opposites attract. It's why it works. It's like the yin yang. That's why it clicks so perfect when it's together. You know, it's little examples like that as to reasons why that's the only way it works. If you ever have a conflict with a partner, if you ever have a conflict anywhere, it's usually because there's two masculines. There's another person that wants to either have control they want to argue what your opinion is or what your input is, outside of somebody doing something wrong, but I'm just talking about in the dynamic of a relationship, of where conflicts do happen, is when two partners are masculine. That's when they just have the most conflict, because both people want to do everything. They want to have control. They want to just truly take authority. But you can't have that. You can't have two bosses in one house. There's only one leader and one that follows. That's the traditional way of doing it. Right now, even just saying that, I know it's going to freak out a lot of people, especially women, because they hear the word submissive. This is even in the Bible, the traditional role of a woman being submissive to her man. But the important thing about this is that the man has to be worthy of submitting to. You can't just submit to any fucking guy that you find out there. No, you're going to end up in the same situation. And it's why you're going to repeat the same mistake that you've done in the past. So understand that it is so important. So going on to the second part of this episode, I'm going to be talking about the feminine dynamic as to why that works to have in a woman. These are things that men look for. These are things that men pay attention to. These are things that a masculine man is going to be looking for. Only a masculine man is going to understand what to look for in a woman. That's, going back to what I said earlier, it's a man that has principle. A guy that has principle, he has belief. He has a belief system of something that's going to work. Something that he truly feels that is going to work for the dynamic. It's going to work for relationships in any situation. He knows what he wants. He's very direct with what he's looking for. And whatever he believes in, he's going to go after it. Because he has the belief system, he has a principle, and that is something that he's looking for. So a lot of these things that guys look for in a woman is for her to be feminine. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about it. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it in podcasts, and why it's so important to see a woman be in her feminine energy is just because everything is so peaceful. When a woman is in her feminine energy, she has a very soft voice. She understands you. She's not going to be arguing with you with anything that you tell her. Obviously, she could have her opinion. I'm not saying that she should just listen to everything that a guy says. No. But it's going to be a woman that knows how to respectfully talk to you. That's not easily going to let her emotions run through her and it caused conflict. And a woman like that knows how to communicate. She knows how to control her emotions. A feminine woman is somebody that a man would love to have, because she makes life so easy. And he knows that he could come home and it's going to be a peaceful home. It's not going to be a chaotic one. That's all guys want, is a woman that is peaceful, one that's going to give them respect. But again, you have to be a man to be respected. You have to be a man of worth for that woman to be submitting to you, because there's a lot of guys that are not even worth submitting to at all. And that's why a lot of women have all these issues with their man, their partners, husband. It could be anybody. But this is why it's causing a lot of conflict in relationships, is because the woman cannot respect the man. And the man comes home, creates hell for her. So how does a woman ever feel safe that way? She doesn't. So going back to what the feminine traits are that men are looking for, because I can't describe how to be a woman. I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys how to be a woman. No. So that's why I'm putting it in a way where guys that do know what to look for, these are traits of what they look for. Especially a guy that's in his healthy masculine, he's going to understand all these traits. So it's a lot of things that women are missing right now. And it's unfortunate. I think a lot of this has to do because of personal experiences that women go through. So when women go through a lot of experience with guys, which is not a good thing, I talked about that in the last episode. A woman should not be exposing herself out there to a lot of guys. No, that's only going to make you worse as a woman. It's going to lower your value. But a woman that hasn't had experience, she values that relationship so much more, and she's not going to have all these distractions or thoughts of who she was with before. So that lets her be in her true feminine and be respectful to who she's with. That's why this is one of the most important traits for a woman to have, is to be respectful and for her to be in her true feminine energy. Because if she's not, it's going to just create a lot of conflict. It really is. And a woman that truly is in her feminine, she knows the people that she has around her. She doesn't let energies that will disrupt her way of thinking. You know, that's a woman that truly understands her value. A feminine woman, she knows when to walk away. She's not going to sit around and put up with all the bullshit that's surrounding her. It could be her relationship. It could be her friendships. It could be her job. It could just be anywhere. A woman like that, she knows how to control the situation and step back, you know, because she values the way she thinks. She values the way that she's going to react if it ever became a bad situation for her. So she steps away from it to protect that. You know, she's protecting her value. And that's what creates a true feminine woman. And that goes back to her ego. A woman that has an energy of being feminine, she doesn't have ego because she understands that ego is from the mind. But a woman that's feminine, it comes from her body, it comes from her heart. You know, she's very observant. She knows how her actions could impact somebody else because she has those traits of being nurturing and loving. That all creates a feminine woman. But a woman that has ego, that's aggressive, that's all in the mind. And a woman that is all that is masculine, that's not feminine. So these are little things that a lot of guys are understanding. So if the woman is very combative off the back, if she talks back, if she disrespects you, if she doesn't take your resources and respects them, that is not a true feminine woman. She's more masculine. You know, a lot of guys, you guys have to understand these roles too, because these are things to look for in a woman. These are things that, I mean, I wish all women could do it, you know, but we would live in a perfect world, and that's just not the way it is. You know, nobody's perfect. We're all going to have traits that we're going to come short from. But if we could understand them and truly try to change for the better, for the betterment of the relationship, for your partner, to make them feel safe, to make them feel loved, it could be anything. But if we could do our best to understand these traits and understand that this dynamic works, it makes all the difference. It truly does. So going back to the ego thing, you know, I see a lot of women that praise women like Taylor Swift, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all these women that are in reality shows. Most of these women are true feminists. You know, these are women that have been with a lot of men. That's why I talked about it on the last episode. The more men that the woman has been with, it only lowers her value. And it's not just her value, but it fucks up her mentality. That's what creates her to be more masculine. And it's what creates her to be away from her true feminine energy. It's only hurting women. And women don't realize this, you know, it's the energies you're observing every day. It could be the music, the shows you watch. If you're watching stuff like that all the time of women that are feminists, that have that boss babe attitude, you're going to eventually pick up masculine traits because you're thinking that that's normal. And truly, that doesn't work. That's why everything is so fucked up right now, is because people are listening to the wrong things. People are paying attention to the wrong things. And they think that this is the way it should be. But that's where the modern day thinking comes from. Modern day thinking means that everybody's paying attention to the world. They're paying attention to TV shows, music, and they feel like that's a normal thing to do, and it's not. You know, most of these people that are on TV or have music or are famous and they're singers or whatever, you know, they don't give a fuck about you. These people they're successful already, so it doesn't matter what happens to them. You know, like, yeah, we're all human and stuff, but people that are in situations where they're trying to make their life better, they're listening to people that are already in a position to where money could just handle anything for them. You know, I know money doesn't buy happiness. I know money's not going to solve a broken heart. I know everybody goes through that, no matter how much money you have. But these are people that are giving the wrong example. That's what I'm trying to say. And most people that are naive and don't think outside the box, they're going to be paying attention to these women. You know, it could even be men. There's men out there that obviously give bad advice. I'm not just going to go after the women, but you have to pay attention to who you listen to. You know, it truly creates who you are as a human being. And it's either going to make you more masculine or it's going to make you more feminine. Because imagine you involve yourself in a group, and I'm talking, you know, to the women right now. What if you involve yourself in a group of women that are all in healthy marriages? They're all feminine. They all know how to respect their man, you know, and truly know what the dynamic is between a relationship, a healthy one. You're going to crave that. You're going to want to feel that from a man, you know, but the situations right now is that a lot of women are not correcting each other. A woman's making a bad mistake, most women would not correct that woman. They're going to be like, oh, you go, girl. You go get yours. A lot of women do not keep each other accountable. That's what's creating a lot of the issues right now. You know, that's why a lot of guys, they're just bold. A lot of the things I'm saying right now, they're just bold. And a lot of people, they're not ready to hear it because they're not ready to actually heal or transform themselves into something that they haven't been used to. How will you ever change if you're so used to your ways? Like, truly. You can't go through life thinking that everything you do is the right way, especially when you don't have good guidance around you. If you have bad friends around you and they're all doing bad stuff, guess what? You're going to be doing bad stuff as well. I mean, it's self-explanatory. You know, I've talked about it before. You become the people you hang around. And if you have toxic people around you, you're going to become that. But if you're truly trying to change as a woman and become more feminine, involve yourself with women that truly know how to be feminine. Because how will you ever learn? Especially if you're around masculine women. You know, women that are doing stuff that is just bad. You know, they're just being hoes. They could just be doing stuff that is not necessarily the right thing for the relationship. You know, if you know women that are doing bad in a relationship, why involve yourself with them? Truly, you know, it's one of the things that you have to ask yourself is, why do you hang around people that you know are doing wrong and you keep involving yourself in it? Or you just love misery. Or maybe you're just as miserable as they are and you don't know how to walk away. You know, you have that, you have that anxious attachment. And people that have anxious attachment, they attach themselves to stuff that is not necessarily good for you. Men or women. You'll attach yourself to situations where it could destroy you. But because you have that anxious attachment, you're going to self-sabotage who you are as a person, and you're never going to grow because you're just going to receive validation from whoever. You're just always going to be in situations where you could have done better if you didn't have that type of attachment. or you had more discipline to understand that you're putting yourself first, you're putting your self-love first, your self-value. There's a lot that goes into it. Above all, have self-respect for yourself. That's the only true way to actually understand your true energy as a woman. Because women that just go out there and react with their emotions, respond with their emotions, act on their emotions, they're going to be in a lot of situations that are going to be detrimental to them. And only if you were better aware about that, you'd be in a better position. You truly would be. It all comes down to discipline. I mean, we all go through things in life, but we have to be disciplined enough to know that we want better. But how will you ever get there with the same actions? You're never going to get anywhere new with the same actions you've taken in the past. You're always going to get the same results. So if you're always in your emotional state, well, guess what? You're going to bring people in your life that are no good for you. When you're in this mentality of it being bad, the way you find somebody is the way you're going to lose them. So going back into the feminine energy, a lot of women that are feminine, they know how to be modest. They know how to dress appropriate. They know how to not show their body in certain areas that you just shouldn't be showing your body. What I mean by this is wearing tight skirts, tight tops. It could just be anything. A true feminine woman knows how to be modest. I'm always going to say that. Right now, it's the complete opposite. That's why a lot of women right now, they're just exposing their body. It doesn't matter how. And most of the time it's because they just want the attention. That's just the way it is. But then again, what man has came around to correct them? To tell that woman, be like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't wear this in this location. Maybe you shouldn't be showing off your body that way. And it's how I know that a woman that knows how to dress is feminine, because a woman that's masculine, she's going to combat that. She's going to argue with that, because when a man comes up to you and he's like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't wear that. She's going to be like, hell no, I'm going to wear whatever I want. That's a masculine woman. That's how I know women that are feminine, they are modest. They know how to dress. They know how to cover up. They know how to be respectful to their body. And women that are masculine, they feel like they could do whatever, wear whatever they want in any location. Because nobody tells them. Nobody corrects them. And even if a man try to correct them, if the man is a beta male or a feminine man, which I see many guys right now are, because their woman is out there dressing half naked, to the whole world. And I'm pretty sure the guy's not even saying a damn thing, because the woman is in her masculine and she's always arguing back like, no, I'm going to wear this. And the guy doesn't have a frame. So how can he be a leader in that relationship? A feminine woman wouldn't even have to fight that. A feminine woman would just do it. The guy would never have to just be there to correct her all the time. A guy that's always correcting his woman most of the time is because he's dealing with a woman that's masculine. She's not in her feminine energy. She's just not. Because a woman that's in her feminine would understand that I have to respect my man. I have to dress a certain way. And it just a lot that goes into it with that. It truly comes down to respect. And I know this part might piss a lot of women off, and what I said about the dressing part, but it's the reality. Most guys, whenever they see a woman that's dressed in a way that's very promiscuous, showing a little bit too much skin, he's going to know that he's going to have issues with that woman if they are in a relationship. It's almost like he's preparing his mindset and being like, you know what, this woman, she's dressing like this. And I know if I commit to her, I'm going to have issues with her. That's why a lot of women, they put themselves in categories for the guys already. in the sex only category. That's all the guy's going to ever think about is the sex, is because you're sexualizing yourself. If you show too much skin, you're wearing tight dresses, you're wearing something that's going to expose your curves a little bit more, guys are going to sexualize you. That's just the way it is. Yeah, it sucks that you can't wear that sometimes or whatever, but if you wear something that's so exposing, why do you want to expose yourself so much? That's the true question. Because I feel like a woman that's in her true feminine understands that her body is only for one man, not for the world to see or even be tempted to even touch. You know, that's why maybe a lot of cases of guys harassing women is because they see women out in the street dressing a certain way and it pulls their attention. So a lot of women, they already put a target on their back, and that's just the way guys are. That's never going to change. Most guys are going to be just dogs. And if a woman doesn't know how to respect herself and be in her true feminine, she's going to put herself in situations where it could be very dangerous too. And if she doesn't have a man to protect her, and she's wearing tight clothes and exposing clothes whenever her man is not there, then what? I bet you at that point, you're going to wish that you didn't wear that. You know, that's why guys say something about it. And he's always trying to express to you like, hey, maybe you shouldn't wear that. You're wearing too little. You know, it's because it's a protective mechanism. He's territorial. He doesn't want something to happen to you. So why are you going to put yourself in a situation where he cannot be there to protect you? I see this happening a lot. You know, it's always the girls' nights at bars or clubs or whatever. They're exposing themselves out there in such a promiscuous way that it could just cause a lot of harm to the group. And it's going to put a target on you guys. And I'm sure that's what happens with a lot of creeps come walking up to you guys and try to spit game. But if you're in a relationship, I think that that's not something that you should do, is dress promiscuously. You know, if you're wanting attention from the world, you're truly broken. You're truly trying to validate yourself through the way of others. You know, a person like that is very unhealed. And a lot of guys need to pay attention to that. And that's why a lot of guys will not put a ring on a woman like that. They do not want a promiscuous woman as a wife. Maybe just for sex, that's it. But not for marriage. And that's why I said a lot of these women, they put themselves in these categories without them even knowing. And the guy will go on a date with you, a few dates or whatever, but he's just going to be with you just for the sex. And he's going to push that as long as he can until emotions start forming. And he's going to be like, you know what? I can't commit to a woman like you. You know, that's when the woman gets heartbroken. She's going to be like, well, what did I do wrong? Why did he ghost me? That's where a lot of those situations happen, is when the guy understands that emotions have been building and he doesn't want to commit to her. That's when the guy usually walks away. You know, just putting that out there so that way women understand that. Because there's a lot of experiences that I'm pretty sure women have experienced, that they talk to a guy for a while, they date a few months or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's nowhere to be found. He just ghosts the woman, and that's it. It's because he understands that emotions were getting built, and you're in that situation. That's why they call it the situationship, you know, before an actual commitment of a relationship. It's when the guy has to make a decision of, am I going to keep seeing this woman? Do I want to commit to her? Do I want to have children with this woman? You know, these are things that guys think about. And if the woman is nowhere near where he wants her to be as a woman, that's where they usually walk away. You know, like I told you, that's why a lot of women, they're overly saturated with attention because they sexualize themselves publicly through social media. And yeah, it could be successful guys, good looking guys, but are they going to put a ring on you? They're probably not, The chances of that are very slim, especially if you sexualize yourself, if you're promiscuous and you carry yourself in a way that's very unhealed. A guy that's going to understand what he wants is going to pick that up from a mile away and walk away. A true masculine man will walk away very early. He's not going to entertain it. So most guys that you give them the attention to, and they're the ones that are in your DMs, sending message after message after message. And I'm sure a lot of women have experienced that. Well, those guys are feminine. They have no frame. So like that's already a trait that they're lacking off the back. You already see the guy, what he's doing. He's in your DMs trying to hit you up, not respecting you, asking for nudes already off the back. And if you entertain it and you don't understand what type of man that this is, you're a woman that's unhealed, that's traumatized. That's going to be an issue later on in the relationship, if that even turns into a relationship with that person that you're entertaining. And it's only going to be a shit show. That's why people go through the same rotation with somebody else. That's why it's one of the most important things to do whenever you are looking for somebody, is to try to find these traits. What's their background like? I know I'm getting a little sidetracked here, going to a different situation and stuff, but all this has to do with the dynamic. It leads from the feminine and the actual masculine, to understand the roles, to understand the traits. And a woman that's true feminine will understand what value her body has and who has access to it too. If it's a body that has access to everybody, it's not special. That's not even masculine. That's not even, I don't even know what the hell it's even called that, besides a hoe. That's a broken woman. And that's how you know if a woman is truly feminine, due to her respecting her body and her mind and everything that she does in her life, is if she ever broke up with somebody. Say if it's a relationship, say if it's a marriage. A way to know if a woman is truly feminine is if she takes the time to heal. A woman that's truly trying to heal her mind, that's going to respect her body, that's going to truly go through the emotions to get her energy back and be a true feminine in a beautiful way. I know after a relationship, it could be detrimental, but a woman that's in her true feminine is going to heal herself. And guess what the opposite is? A masculine woman. She has the traits of masculine, and that leads to her having traits of a hoe. She's out there just looking for new guys to talk to, adding new guys on her Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, Snapchat. That's a woman that's broken. And usually guys miss this. Like, it's fucking crazy. That's how big simps are right now, is that they don't pay attention to who they're dealing with, who they're talking to. They just feel like, oh, this girl's giving me attention, and they fall head over heels for her. But again, a lot of guys do not get attention. So any girl that gives them attention, they're going to feel like they're on top of the world. And this only happens to average guys. This does not happen to high value guys, masculine men, because they'll read that. They'll know who they're talking to. A guy that knows what he wants, and he begins talking to a woman, he's going to pay attention to what her background is, to what her current habits are, her traits are, because he knows that he's going to commit time to her. So why is he going to waste his time with a woman that's just unhealed, traumatized, and broken? He's just not. And most guys that are feminine and beta and simps, it's just going to fly over their head, because they're going to be like, oh man, this fucking woman's going to give me attention, so I'm going to just try to get with her. And it's normal. Guys just want to get in and get out. But that's the issue right now, is that a lot of women are okay with that. That's what's fucking wild. Like, this world is so fucking broken that women are just so liberated with their body and just giving their attention out to everybody. And yeah, just everybody. It's fucking insane. A woman like that is not special. I don't know why guys even chase that, especially if it's a girl that they know that's talking to a lot of other guys. Why are you going to put yourself in a situation where you could even catch an STD if you know that this woman could potentially be sleeping with other men? So I don't know why a lot of guys even put themselves in that situation. But then again, that's not a masculine man. That's a feminine man. Why? Because he's reacting with his emotions. The validation that he's getting from that woman. So all these dynamics and traits that I've been talking about are something to think about. A lot of people right now, they're going through life based off of their emotion, men and women. But they always wonder why they are always in the same situation. It's the same situation of a marriage that they're trying to leave. They're going to keep getting in that same situation over and over because they don't change as people. They don't change as people. So how do you expect to get a different result with the same habits, the same actions that you've been taking before? You're going to get the same result. It's just going to be a different body. And it's crazy because people, they don't understand this is whenever you're high value, even as a masculine man or even as a feminine woman, like a high value person, men or women, whenever somebody's in their natural, true energy, it just radiates off of you. You attract a lot of good in your life whenever you do the right things. It's whenever you start doing the wrong things that you start attracting the same situations. Like I said, you're always going to get the same results if you don't change who you are. And I'm talking to women right now. If you ever left a relationship that made you very masculine, do you think it's a good idea to jump into another relationship? It truly isn't. You're going to have the same traits and habits as you did in your marriage, and you're going to attract the same type of person. A lot of people, they don't understand this, and it even goes with guys. If you were in a relationship with a woman that made your life hell, how are you just going to jump into a different relationship and expect different? You're going to have the same traumas and you're going to react the same way with somebody new. That's why it's very important for people to heal. That's how you're able to be in your natural energy as a man and as a woman. A masculine will take accountability and take the time to heal and truly go through those emotions. So that way he doesn't ever have to put another woman through that. Or that way he doesn't ever have to receive that type of stuff or bad situations that the other woman put him through. And for a woman, if you were in a relationship where your guy was a fucking feminine man, beta male bitch, how do you know how to attract a masculine man when you've been used to this person for so long? You're never going to be able to understand how that looks like until you actually take the time to heal, do your research, and talk to people that know the dynamic. You're going to be in the same situation. It's just going to be the same rotation, just a different body. So that's why it takes a lot of internal work to be able to commit to changing. So a lot of these things that I'm telling you guys, I know might be a little bit hard to hear. But I'm not here for you guys to just hear everything you guys want. I'm saying things so that way you guys could actually think about it. And if you guys are doing some of these things, you guys could maybe make the move mentally to become better men and women. Because that's what the world is lacking right now, is people taking accountability and actually being in their natural traditional role as a man or a woman. Whenever that gets disrupted, it causes chaos everywhere. And not just in relationships, it could just be anywhere. So these are very important things for you guys to think about. Because I think we all get to a point in life where we are truly just tired. And I'm pretty sure that's how most of you guys feel sometimes. And if there's knowledge out there for people to to listen to and to truly commit their time to make the relationship better, I feel like that's going to make the biggest difference, anywhere. You guys have to put out what you want back in. I talked about this in the last episode. Whatever you put out, you're going to receive back in, and that's just the way it is. That truly is the only way to understand what you want back in life, honestly. So whatever you put out into the world, you're going to get back in. But if you don't understand what type of person you are, and you're going through life thinking what you're doing is the right thing, you're going to fall into a lot of situations where you don't want to be in. And that's why I want to put episodes like this out, so that way people are more aware, and just to be a lot more careful with their decision making and not to become emotional about it. We all deserve happiness, but you cannot go into a relationship or into a situation not being healed and you not doing the work to become a better human being for somebody else and expect a different result. You'll always receive the same results if you don't change as a person. You're always going to get the same situation. I promise you always will. Because I'm sure a lot of women are tired of attracting little boys. So I think it's time for you guys to attract real men and truly do the work to be able to receive that, to receive those energies. And they're going to know that you are worth it. And they're going to commit to you instead of just using you and just throwing you to the side. That's what happens a lot. You have to be in that feminine energy to be able to attract a true masculine man. If not, you're just going to keep attracting little boys. And those are the boys that are in your fucking likes, your DMs. Yeah, those are the little boys in there. Real men won't do that. So understand what I'm trying to say with those energies you attract. What you put out, if you put out stuff that's promiscuous, if you put out stuff that is going to get attention, guess what? You're going to attract little boys, not real men. Understand that. Whatever you put out, you're going to receive back in. I've been saying that. So be careful with those energies. And for the men as well, stop being little bitches. I'm going after you guys as well, because I'm tired of seeing it. I see it fucking everywhere. In situations that they're with their girlfriend or wife, and I see them running over them. Like, bro, be a fucking man and lead. Like, where is your frame that a woman has to take control of a relationship? You have to be a man and be a leader, be stoic. Everything I just talked about early in the episode. You guys have to be better fucking men. Right now, society is fucked up because of weak men. That's why I call simps out a lot. And I'm going to keep doing it every fucking episode if I have to. Because those fucking guys are the ones that is causing all this fucking hookup culture. It's overinflating these women's egos. And women feel like they deserve the fucking best. And some women do, not all women, but women that have actually done the work. Women that have actually learned how to be in their feminine energy and be respectful to a man, know how to dress, be modest, be peaceful. Yeah, that woman deserves the best. Yes. But a lot of these women, they're missing all these traits and they still expect the best. That's not right. It goes both ways. A man has to be worthy of submitting to. A woman cannot just submit to any fucking man just because she thinks that he's cute. No, it doesn't go that way. If not, you're going to be in that same rotation, same situation, just a different body. That's why I'm exposing all this to you guys. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have probably heard this before. But damn, if I'm here just to remind you, if you take it to your heart, take it to your mind, or if it just goes in one ear or the other, it's up to you. But I'm exposing what's really happening in society. And I feel like the masculine and feminine dynamic is so important in a relationship that it will make all the difference. So I hope you guys take all this information and truly try to change if you're missing some of these traits. We could all change for the better. We all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be loved, but in a healthy manner. Right now, a lot of toxicity is happening because a lot of people are unhealed, traumatized. They're going through life just putting bandages on stuff that should be stitched up. And people are hurting each other. Hurt people are hurting each other because they're not taking the time to heal, to become better. And it's causing this whole shit show. So as always, guys, thank you guys for listening. And I hope you guys take all this information to heart. I might have hurt a few feelings. I know I'm getting a little controversial with the stuff I'm saying, but all these things that I'm saying, and I know I say it a lot in a lot of my episodes, but I truly take the time to do the research. I truly take the time to look at the data for all the things that's happening in relationships. And I put it all together. All this information, I've done the extensive research for. I've truly sat down, taken hours out of my day to prepare these episodes. So you guys could take it the way you guys want. And all I want to do is just help. Put the truth out there. Let you guys know what truly is needed, that I feel is needed. Because I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I've done my share of mistakes as a man. But damn it, because I'd made those mistakes, I became aware. And I truly did my best to change as a man. And because of those mistakes, I became this man that I am today. To truly change and commit myself into this knowledge to become a better human being. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm over here losing my damn voice. I guess I talked a lot today, but I appreciate you guys. Much love. Till next time, Luna out.